This show contains spoilers and adult language. Listener discretion is advised.
Movies with Ron, movies with Ron.
Hell yeah, motherfucker.
Movies with Ron.
So I'm seeing this girl.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The sour girl.
Yeah.
Are things sour enough now? Things going good?
Yeah, it's going good.
Good.
We were talking the other night. For some reason, she's talking about, I don't know, school, riding on the bus, I think. Telling stories, you know.
Sure. Wait, how old is your girlfriend?
She's in her 30s.
Okay, then.
She just graduated 7th grade.
There's nothing wrong with that?
So I'm like, I think of this story that happened, you know, because we're talking about riding the bus to school or back. So I tell her, there was this kid on our bus who would he would throw twine out the window and see how long it would go while it was attached to the bus. And while I'm saying it, I'm thinking more, I'm like, come to think of it, I think he tied it to an action figure and then threw it out the window, and we would watch how long the line was. And then she goes, like in Napoleon Dynamite? So I start thinking, and I'm like, yep, that's from fucking Napoleon Dynamite. And I'm like, God damn, I'm pretty sure that actually happened in real life, probably without the action figure. But I've already made a fucking fool of myself with that story. Like, yeah, I say out loud, like, yeah, I just said a story from Napoleon Dynamite. I thought I could
Thought you could pass
take
it off.
as my own. No idea what I'm doing here. And then I just start bursting out laughing, right? For no reason at all from her point of view. But it's so funny that she starts laughing, and I can't stop fucking laughing, imagining if Ron were there, and he's just like sitting against the wall, looking at me going, remember that time you covered yourself in mud so the predator wouldn't see you? Welcome to episode 104 of Movies with Ron, the podcast where my older brother recaps a movie he saw from beginning to end for me and you, because we like his versions better. It's okay if you've seen the movie. It's okay if you haven't seen it. The experience is unique. So let's get it on. I'm Chris, your MC for the time being. Here with me tonight is Nurse Candy.
Hey, everybody.
And here he is, folks.
He's the ball cracker, death on foot. You know him, you love him. He's Ron. Ron.
Hey, Ron.
Hey, Candy. And hello, listeners.
Good job with Solo last week, man.
Thanks, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
I went to see it.
Why?
A date. That was pretty good.
Good.
Yeah. The only black guy in the movie is a cheater.
Ooh. Yep.
Yeah. I liked how Ron Howard directed it.
Me too.
Like it was, it just seemed old school.
Yeah.
And like it wasn't trying to be old school. It's just the way Ron Howard, I just haven't seen a real action movie from him in a while.
Right.
And,
it was like, man, good old Ron Howard. He did
Yeah.
us proud, man.
yeah.
You know, and it was, for a Star Wars movie, is pretty much the lowest the stakes can get, you know, story-wise.
Yeah.
But it was, I enjoyed it so much more than The Last Jedi, man. I guess I didn't stop it from bombing, huh?
Yeah, it was
That's
number
too
one for a week, but it still bombed. Seriously, though, it felt like you were watching Willow.
Right.
Really?
It felt like an old school action summer movie.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. All right, we got a new review
All right.
Yay.
Yes.
from Mike _ Ekimekiem titled Best Part of My Mondays. And he says, love the show. I look forward to new episodes every Monday morning at work. Best movie podcast around. Keep it up, guys. Smiley face.
Aw.
All right.
Thanks, Mike. We damn sure gonna keep it up.
That makes it all worth it.
Hey! I love you! What? Nothing!
All right, Witchboard, let's do it.
Whoa! Love this movie. You know, back in the 80s, I don't remember another film that was centered around a Ouija board as much. Now, Ouija board movies are everywhere.
Right.
This was kind of unique.
Yeah, it really set itself apart as being the movie that laid out the rules of the Ouija board for the world.
And it was scary.
It was scary.
frightening.
It was like extra scary for me.
And me. I was there.
Yeah. Okay. So Candy and I were watching this movie. I was like, what, 7?
Maybe younger. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Jeez.
Maybe 6.
Candy was like, come on. It's like 10 o'clock at night. Our mom is in bed sleeping.
Yes.
Candy's like, all you got to do is be quiet and you're going to watch something very special. And I was like, all right, I'm cool too. We're watching this shit and it scares the shit out of me. I could see that it's kind of scaring Candy too.
It scared me too.
Yeah, she's quiet. All right. And all of a sudden from the other room, we just hear our mother going, ah, ah. Like that horror sound that every kid knows when his mom is like in some sort of trouble.
Yeah, she's in distress.
Yeah. So we jumped up and ran in, and turned out right then she was having a nightmare about an evil spirit coming for her children. And me and
Do you
Candy,
really remember that? Is
yeah.
that the truth?
Oh, yeah. She said,
Wow.
I had all of you kids sitting on the bed, and he was standing in the room, and he was coming for you. And I was like, no, you can't have my children. By that point, I assumed she was dressing it up to make herself sound good, because she was like screaming.
Yeah.
Okay, when she woke up.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, never again.
Yeah. But it was that moment before we went into the room to wake her up where it was like, oh my God, Witchboard has extended into our universe.
Uh-huh.
The spirit is here in our house.
You motherfuckers.
Witchboard. We brought Witchboard into the family.
This is damn scary.
I know. Almost as scary as when Candy brought home an actual Ouija board years later. And who do you think she got to help her with that shit? She's
Is
like,
that true?
You want to see something? And I was like, what? She like pulls a Ouija board out from under her mattress, and I was like, I felt fear in my heart. Like all I could think of was that night. And yeah, we did it.
Yeah.
And I think I broke contact because I was like, too fucking weirded out, man. At that point, I was like, what, 11?
Yeah.
And I did the Ouija board equivalent of Monopoly flipping. And Candy was mad. Because, you're supposed to say goodbye. I was like,
Yeah.
fuck this.
Can't knock the cursor off the table. It's bad luck.
Don't call it a cursor.
Was at the height of my rebellion.
Yeah,
As a
it
teenager.
really was. I was like, oh, Candy.
I even think Parker Brothers came out with one.
Yeah.
And it would be like sold in the board game section.
Yeah,
it
they
still
still-
is,
probably
man.
still
Not a
do.
fucking board game.
It is still there.
Directed by Kevin Tenney,
Hell yeah.
who also directed Night of the Demons,
That's right.
Oh.
Witch Trap.
Witch Trap is such an interesting thing.
I know. It's like, I don't think it's a sequel, but
It's
got-
not.
It's got the same font.
And it's got a few of the same actors in it.
Really?
Yeah.
And it's weird. Witchboard was his first movie, and it is very professionally, polished. Okay, for the time. Then he makes Night of the Demons, which is also, a huge classic. And then after that, this weird little movie called Witch Trap, and it's like, are you remaking Witchboard?
Yeah.
Because the bad guy played by the same guy.
Really?
Okay, it's so weird. There's a few of the same actors, but he brought Linnea Quigley
Okay.
with him from Night of the Demons.
And there is a Witchboard too.
There is. And he made that like 10 years later.
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
It is so weird.
Kevin Tenney's latest film is from 2009. It's called Bigfoot.
Yeah, it's like a Harry and the Hendersons.
It uses the original costume
Really?
of Harry from Harry and the Hendersons. He's on the front cover. It's the same Bigfoot from that movie.
How did he do that?
I don't know, man. Probably like found it in a
Found it in the dumpster.
Yeah. I'll take that, please.
Yeah, him finding that is why he made a movie about it. Hey, you don't waste this kind of stuff.
The tagline is, friendship can get a little hairy.
Didn't Kevin Tenney star in Witchboard?
Who would he have been in?
I thought he
Witchboard?
was her boyfriend.
No.
The brunette.
Oh, the brunette. What a guy. The two guys in this movie. Everybody in this movie went on to be like soap opera stars. These two guys are just a couple of handsome devils from the 80s.
They did darn good.
Yeah. Relevant mullets all the way around. And all the scenes with just those two, where it's just those two sharing the scene together, they are all like, boom, baby. These guys, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you got Tawny Katane.
Oh, there's just no resisting that mane of red hair back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Tawny Katane was it.
Yeah, I was watching this movie, and I was like, man, this lady sure does have a shit ton of red hair.
I Googled her. Yeah, she's really cute back then.
Yeah.
Everyone loved her.
She's,
But when you Google her,
No.
it shows you her timeline.
uh-huh.
All right. So I think in the 90s, she got a little creative with the plastic surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, I don't want to rank on her because I feel like nowadays, even she looks back then and was like, what happened? Because nowadays, you can look her up on Twitter. She's an entrepreneur, and she's like a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
She's like, do something,
she's
man.
made of muscle.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Some titles of reviews for this movie. Accentuates suspense over gore, which in 1986, I guess, was important.
Yeah. Yep, that is certainly true.
A fun, nostalgic 80s classic.
Definitely.
But I think there's an equal number of people that hate this movie.
Yeah, it's a cult classic, okay? Yeah, it's not a critically good movie, okay? But for those who love it, oh man, it is very well loved. They have reunions every once in a while.
Really?
Yeah.
It's got the house from Waxwork in it.
Yeah, man!
If you're listening for the first time, check out our Waxwork episode. You won't regret it.
Okay, one of the things I love about this movie is the spirit, the menacing spirit, is unseen.
Well, for the most part. Kind of see him later.
Yeah. But those scenes are so effectively scary, and they make the spirit seem so menacing that it's genuinely scary, even though you can't see it.
Yeah. That's a hard thing to do.
It is. I think they accomplished it.
Yeah, I was watching this movie for the show, and I was like, man, what the hell am I doing? I'm like bringing it all back on myself. And like, I'm not a 7-year-old kid anymore, but a lot of it is still genuinely unnerving for me. At one point, like, I couldn't get the movie to play, and I was like, oh, Jesus, I'm being haunted. I'm getting fucking haunted. Fuck. I fucking knew this would happen.
Kevin Tenney, good job.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, it's been a while since I, slept with the lights on. Why don't I just give it a try? No big deal. Nothing wrong with it. I'm an adult. I do whatever I want.
All right, folks, pack your planchettes, because it's Witchboard on Movies with Ron.
It's showtime.
Candy says, make your little brother watch this. It'll ruin his fucking life.
Get the people out! Come on! Get the people out!
He deserves it.
You turned out fine.
All right, so we start off with some spooky keyboard and opening credits, and I was like, what the hell am I doing? And it's all like, wow, Witchboard. And I got like a lump in my throat. So we open up at Zach Galligan's house from Waxwork.
Whoa.
All right.
Right there. Turns out it's this movie exists in the same universe. It's a prequel of sorts. Anyway, it's nighttime, and there is a party going on. And inside, it's like, oh man, it's like nothing but yuppies and douchebags. And it's like, I wish I was there. And in the middle of this party, on the couch, there's like some random douchebag sitting on the couch with Brandon and Tawny. Brandon is played expertly by Stephen Nichols.
Oh, he was fantastic.
And then Tawny Katane, ladies and gentlemen, from the White Snake videos, who was dating O.J. Simpson while they were making this movie.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he used to show up like, where the hell's Tawny?
God.
Yeah, and he was married at the time.
Oh.
Yeah. And she's got all this red hair, and she's just sitting there next to Brandon. And Brandon's like, got his hand on her shoulder. So you're like, are they together?
Yeah.
And the douchebag's like, Brandon, if there's no God, how do you explain the creation of the universe? Well, how do you explain the creation of God? And it's like, Jesus. A little light party convo. He's always existed. So has the universe. Bullshit. Why? Why is that harder to accept than an infinite God? While this conversation's happening, there's another guy, like, sitting across the table, just, like, sitting there watching him. Yeah. Listen, Brandon, there's no way intelligent life could have formed so fast without some sort of divine intervention. And then Brandon's like, oh, come on. And then he motions to the guy that's just sitting there listening. Now, you can't honestly count someone like Jim here as intelligent life, can you? And then he looks at Jim.
Oh.
And it's like, damn, dude. Like, whoa. That guy hadn't said shit. Yeah. Okay, that's when you stand up and you stomp his face in like a cop kicking in a door.
Yeah.
But the guy's cool about it. He just like nods and smiles. That's good. I'm impressed, Brandon. It's that was almost witty. Almost. And then Brandon's looking at him like, oh my God, I want to kill you. So obviously they already, there's something's gone on already. Brandon came to the party like, with zingers. Tawny is just sitting there like, uncomfortable. Then Jim's like, I'm going to get another drink. And he gets up and leaves. And Brandon's like father, like son, huh?
Holy crap.
Yeah,
Jesus.
It's like, what? Jim just stops. And then he just keeps going. Like he's holding it in. And then Tawny throws Brandon's hand off of her shoulder. And she's like, you just don't know when to quit, do you? And then she runs off to follow Jim. Brandon's like, what? What did I do? Tawny's walking into the kitchen to follow Jim, and while she's doing that, we actually overhear some chick at the party say, oh my God, we should take this party elsewhere. So at least somebody's doing it right? Am I right, Chris?
Yeah.
So in the kitchen, there's a couple of cool guys. They're not yuppies like the rest, okay? Yeah, they're wearing sunglasses at night and shit. And one of them is holding a bottle of Jack Daniels, and he's trying to do this trick where you simply whiz your hand past the cap and you graze it hard enough to spin it off and fling it across the room. And he's like, God, how does he do it, man? And then Jim just blows into the kitchen. Hey, when did you guys get here? I don't know, some time ago. Yeah, and you left me alone with Tawny's law school chum? Hey, priorities, man. Jack first, blow second, and then, yeah. And Jim's pacing in the kitchen, he's so pissed off. All right, what you drinking, man? And then Jim grabs the jack and says, whatever's handy. And then he flips the cap across the room and just chugs that shit.
Oh.
So who's the turd in the $800 suit? Oh, that's Brandon Sinclair. And then the other guy who was trying to do the bottle trick, he goes, of the Sinclair Vineyards? And it's like, what? Yeah, Tawny used to date him. And they're like, whoa, man. And then Tawny just comes in. Jim? Oh, hi, guys. Are you enjoying the party? What can I do for you? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, no, we're just here, man. It's all good. And obviously, Jim and Tawny need to talk. So they're like, okay. One of them says, we're just going to go rinse some stuff out. And they leave. So Tawny and Jim are alone. Are you all right?
I told you that guy sucks.
Yeah, I know you did. Okay.
Why the hell would you invite your ex-boyfriend to a party? Like, who does that?
I don't know. Are you going to come back out to the party?
In a minute.
And she's got this metric shit ton of red hair all pulled up in this bun. It is borderline ridiculous. She's like, okay, well, I'll wait for you out there. And she's leaving, and she's like, Jim, I love you.
And he's like, he's smoking a cigarette, he's nodding, and he goes, I know.
And it is at this point that you notice that Jim is wearing a black vest over, some burgundy shirt. But he's wearing a black vest, and he just told a girl, I know. He said, I love you. Okay? This is not the last Star Wars reference in this movie. So she leaves, and with a look on her face like, wow, you're a fucking ass.
He just swigs the Jack Daniels.
So it cuts to Brandon and the original douchebag on the couch. They're still talking about God and stuff. But now they got like this big audience, this gathered around to listen. I mean, how can you believe in spirits without believing in God? And it's like, Jesus, man, go home. Like, who invited you to this party?
Well, there's been evidence of spirits, photos, recordings, eyewitness accounts. And, I've contacted some of them myself.
With what, a Ouija board?
Ouija.
What?
It's pronounced Ouija, not Ouija.
Jesus, I thought I was the fucking nerd.
It comes from the French and German words for yes, oui and ja, Ouija. And this, and he pulls out a planchette, like out of his pocket. Is a planchette.
And it's like, whoa, he's got one here. Yeah, you mean the cursor?
No, don't call it a cursor. That's a thing.
And then one of the cool guys, from the kitchen, talk about doing blow. He's like, I don't care what you call it, dude. It's still just like a game. Like chess or checkers. You're like,
Well, for your information, dude, it's been around since recorded history, since 540 BC.
Jim's sitting there, and he's like just about killed this bottle of Jack Daniels. And he's like, yeah, I guess if Barbie dolls had been around that long, you'd be talking to them too, huh? And Brandon, he's ready. He turns and he goes, beats talking to you. He's like, fight! That's because I use words with more than one syllable. And then Brandon's like,
Yeah, would you like to talk about that?
like that's what he said.
Oh, God.
Brandon, starting to lose the argument. Tony's like, easy, fellas. Look, can we just play the game? It looks fun.
All right.
And then Brandon gives us the mythology of the Ouija.
It's best to use with two people, preferably a man and a woman. And you should never sit it on a table. It should be on our knees. Also, both should have clean systems, so the energy pathway through our bodies is as open as possible. The energy path to the planchette.
Are you saying the spirits actually come inside of us?
Oh, don't worry, it's perfectly safe. In fact, one of them came in me last night.
Yeah, but I don't get what you mean by clean systems.
Someone who doesn't smoke or drink, like you. Care to give it a try, Tawny?
Nope.
And the whole party's like, oh, come on, do it. Fuck.
She's like, okay, I'll do it. So he takes her hand and sits her down next to him.
I don't smoke either, and I haven't been drinking tonight, so together we should be able to make a strong contact.
Jim looks at his two buddies and he's like, yeah, I bet he wants to make a strong contact. And Tawny just looks at him like, stop talking. And then Jim is like, maybe I shouldn't have said I know.
Okay, one more thing before we begin. Now, the spirits, they are lousy spellers, and a lot of them like to lie. So, to play it safe, I'm going to try to contact David, the spirit of a little boy who died about 30 years ago.
And the douchebag's like, you mean you've contacted him before?
Yes, several times. For some reason, he's connected to this particular board.
Why's that?
Well, every board has its own dominant spirit. Maybe it's because this board was made the day David died.
Anyway, Jim's like, how do you know when the board was made?
David told me.
Oh. Yeah, but you said they like to lie. Am I right, guys? Didn't you just say that, man? You don't know. And Brandon, at that comment, looks like genuinely hurt that had not occurred to him. Okay, ball sacks, let's do this.
All right.
So they begin, all right? And, Brandon and Tawny, they got the board resting on their knees. They're sitting next to each other on the couch. They put their hands on the planchette, and it begins to move. Going around the board like in a circle.
David, can you hear me?
And it's just moving in a circle.
No!
And Tawny's like, whoa, it's moving. Can I talk to him?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
How old are you, David? And then the planchette moves to the 6 and then to the 9.
Yes!
And then Brandon, pulls his hands off the planchette. He's like,
Thank you, goodbye.
Everybody's like, whoa, what happened?
That wasn't David.
Well, then who was it?
I don't know.
Well, how do you know it wasn't David?
Because David was 10 when he died, not 69. And David and I, we also have a special signal that no other spirit knows.
This is a little spooky.
Then Jim looks at his friend. It's a little stupid.
And his friend, whose name is T-Bone. All right.
T-Bone's like, it's a lot stupid.
They try again. All right. Hands on the planchette.
David, can you hear me? Would you like to talk to us?
And it starts moving around, okay? And it just goes to, yes. Everybody's like,
David, is that you?
And then the planchette starts moving in a figure 8 around the board. It's moving in a figure 8.
Yes, that's David's signal. It's actually balls, but... Would you like to speak to him?
Yeah. David? I don't know what to say.
David, do you know me?
And then the planchette just moves.
Yes. David, will you return to the living one day?
Yes. Tawny's like, reincarnation?
That's what they all say. Fucking spirits, man. David, will you be able to choose your parents when you return?
Yes. Jim's like, bullshit. And Brandon, while he is in contact with David the spirit, just looks over at Jim and he's like,
why? You can't believe you were stupid enough to pick your parents?
Oh my God.
And then the Ouija board just spells out, burn. Solid burn. Hey, at least I don't talk to cardboard. And then the planchette starts moving in the balls. Okay, it's a little faster. Figure 8. Figure 8 or balls, Faster and faster. Careful, Jim. You're upsetting David. It's going real fast now.
Oh, what's he gonna do? Haunt me? David, are you all right?
Yeah, he's all right. He's just a little dead, that's all.
Shut up, Jim! David, are you all right?
I don't know. It's really racing.
Maybe he's late for the last flight back to Limbo.
And then the planchette just stops. And it's like, oh shit. And it's all quiet. And Brandon and Tawny just kind of pull their hands off of the planchette. And then boom! The board flips up off of their knees.
Ooh.
And there was a real boom that happened. Everybody's like, whoa, what was that noise? It sounded like a gunshot. T-Bone
All right.
is like, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, hang on. He goes over to the window, okay, and he peeks through the blinds and he goes, oh, multiple sadness. Who owns the Cobra? Brandon's like,
Oh man, I do. Why?
your tire's history, bud.
Oh.
Yeah. Jim just laughs. You're fucking tired, dude. God damn it, why are you here? I hate you. So we cut. Everybody's outside, and Brandon's just like looking at his flat tire and then kicking it. He turns around to Jim and he's like, thanks a lot, butt sniffer.
Oh.
What, that's my fault? These are brand new tires. Now, how do you explain it? I don't know, man. Maybe your buddy Casper did it, you know? What is your problem, dude? Brandon just whips his head to Jim and he's like, that's right, because you made him angry. Well, then why didn't he flatten my tire?
Because I was in control of the board and he held me responsible.
Man, you're crazy. And you're drunk and you're a loser. In a great family tradition. And before he was even done saying that, Jim turned around and was ready to fight.
Yeah.
Like, oh, son, you gonna come into my house, you know, and say these things to me.
Yeah, really.
They grab each other's jacket collars and they give them a good shake. Okay, back and forth. In a seesaw motion. Ah! Tawny's like, Jim! So Jim lets go, and then he wags his finger in Brandon's face like, you lucky bitch.
I don't know who to hate more.
You certainly don't at this point. Later, Tawny and Jim are there, you know, in the bedroom. Okay, it was their apartment. It's actually, Zach's mansion. Okay, it has been bought by this nice old lady named Mrs. Moses, and she chopped it up into apartments. Oh. So it's basically just an apartment building now. Jim and Tawny live there together. She's brushing her hair before bedtime. It takes about 3 hours. Well, thank you very much for ruining the party. And he's like in his boxer shorts sitting on the bed. And he's like, you're welcome. But don't worry. And then he like starts stroking himself. It's like enticing her. Something was very alive in his pants. And he took it out with both hands. And then Tawny's like, I like your big pickle.
I asked you not to call it that.
But I like pickles.
Wait, what are you talking about?
We're not having sex. I'm angry.
But it's the best when you're angry.
You promised you wouldn't start shit with Brandon.
I didn't. Okay, Brandon started it. And he did. You know?
Yeah.
What did you want me to do? Just sit there and take it? And she's like, I'll sit there and take it.
He's like, oh my God, that's my favorite. All right. Don't move. Act like you're dead.
Okay. And then they begin, okay? And the camera pans down and we see the Ouija board is still downstairs on the table.
Oh.
The next morning, Jim and T-Bone are at work, and they are construction workers, baby. They're building a house. Yeah! So they're hanging sheetrock, and they're using these, I took note of this, okay? I used to be in construction. They're using these hammers, okay? They're actually called, like, rigging hatchets, okay? Or old-timey type carpenter's hammers. Anyway, it's a hammer where one side is, the hammer side, and the other side is just a hatchet blade.
Yeah.
And nowadays, that kind of shit probably wouldn't even be allowed on a construction site.
Really?
Construction workers with axes? I don't think so. They're all pissed off at each other. You could hammer nails and then also cut the rope on a bundle of wood. Yeah, shit like that.
Yeah.
And the Flintstones lunch whistle blows. And some guy comes sliding down a brontosaurus. It's lunch! Jim's like, man, I lost my hammer. And then right next to his face, one of those hammer hatchets just like lands in the wood. And he looks at it. And when they filmed this, I learned they filmed it in reverse. And Jim had to act it in reverse. And once you know that, when you watch it, you're like, he's like, you could have killed me. And T-Bone's like, nah, man, it's cool. That's my hammer. I threw it to you. Use mine. But, I mean, if I killed you, then you'd, like, flatten my tires and shit and haunt me, I know, man. Wasn't that some stupid shit? Fuck yeah, dude. They walk out and they sit down for lunch. They're outside, sitting on a couple pallets, right under a big stack of sheetrock. It's all bundled together, and for some reason, it's being kept up high, all right? The camera pans up, and we see, there is Jim's hatchet hammer.
Oh.
So they start eating, and Jim's like, all right, mayonnaise sandwich.
Fuck yeah.
And it cuts to Tawny, and she's like, she's at home, okay? And she checks the answering machine, and it's like, hi, this is the doctor's office, and your test results are in, okay? They are in! So give us a call, okay? The next one is Brandon.
Hey, Tawny. I guess I left my Ouija board, over there last night, in all of the, the confusion, where I definitely didn't look like a prick. Anyway, could you bring it to class, on Friday? I want to contact David and see if he's calmed down yet.
And she's like, She looks up.
All right, I'll see you Friday.
And she's like, I guess I'll sit down and use the Ouija board alone.
Ooh.
So she puts the board on her knees and starts doing it by herself, all right? Moving her hands back and forth in her lap. This is also daylight, okay? David, are you here? And the planchette starts moving in the balls. Okay? Figure 8, balls. Is that you? Yes. Do you remember me? Yes. Oh, wow. David, is it true that you can really choose your next parents? Yes. Do you know why I'm asking? Yes. The tests, they were positive, weren't they? Yes. I knew it. I knew it. David, would you like to... No. And it's like, whoa.
Oh.
No? How come? And then it starts moving around the letters, and it's like J-I-M. Jim? What's the matter, David? You don't like Jim? He's a really nice guy. No. Damn, David. You hold a grudge, don't you? Yes. And then the planchette just stops. Like, David, David, are you here? Where are you? And then we just cut to the hatchet on top of the sheetrock. And Jim's like, hey, T-Bone, you didn't buy that stuff Brandon was, saying about the spirits and the Ouija board, right? Hell no, man. Does it say spaz on me somewhere? I mean, get real. So how'd the board jump off their knees, do you think?
I don't know. He kicked it or something. That guy's a piece of shit, man. Like, he's always been a dildo.
Yeah. You know what? What's up with you guys? What's going on there? What happened? Tawny, I guess. That's when the friendship ended anyway. You guys were friends? Oh, hell yeah, man. Best friends. his kids. Damn, dude, really? Yeah, I practically grew up at Brandon's house.
Oh.
Both of my folks were alcoholics, and, they also made porn, so I just couldn't be there. And he thinks I stole Tawny from him. Did you?
You're goddamn right I did!
But yeah, but I didn't really even know that they knew each other. She was just starting law school, and I was in med school back then. You were in med school, man? What the fuck are you doing here? And lunch is over. Come on, loafer, let's go. Ah, man. And T-Bone has refused to go back to work, and he just lays down on the pallet. Jim gets up and he's like, "Come on, you lazy scumbag. Hey, this job don't mean shit to me, man." Boom! The sheetrock falls on him. Oh, man. And it's serious.
Oh.
It just drops right in. It's amazing. Okay? And Jim's like, "Oh, shit! T-Bone!" And he starts pulling these big sheets of drywall off of this guy and uncovers him. And he is just covered in blood and drywall dust. And he's like, and he dies. And I was like, oh, man. Being covered in drywall dust when you die would suck.
Oh, jeez.
I think that would be one of the worst ways to die. Anything having to do with sheetrock dust. Tawny's still playing with the board. She's like, "David, are you here?" And then slowly the planchette moves over to yes. "Oh, nice to see you made it back." And then it starts spelling something out. R-I-N-G. Ring? You mean my diamond ring? Do you know where it is? Yes. Oh, where? A-S-S. What? D-R-A-N. Dran? What's Dran? Oh, do you mean drain? Like the sink? Yes. Which sink? The kitchen? No. Oh, the bathroom then. No shit. Okay. Oh my God. Thanks, David. And it just cuts to her wee, opening up the pipes. She's got a little wrench. And she's doing this, okay, in the bathroom, all right? They're metal pipes. She opens them up and spooky music starts to play. It's just your bathroom drain. Yeah. And she reaches her finger in. Ow! And she pulls it out. She's like, well, there goes that nail. So then this thing happens that is so easy to overlook and is not actually spoken about in this movie. She walks over to the medicine cabinet, okay, opens it up. There are 2 toothbrushes in there. One is blue, one is yellow. She picks up the blue one, goes down to the pipe and pushes the toothbrush down in there and fishes out her diamond engagement ring.
All right.
She's like, all right. And it's all covered in hair and gelatinized semen. She's like, ew. She has to take it off with toilet paper. Cleans it up. Then she gets back up, walks over to the medicine cabinet, puts the toothbrush back, and slams the door shut.
No way.
God.
In the mirror on the door is Jim. And it's like, whoa! And she goes, fuck! Shit! Oh my God. You fucking scare me like that. You sneak up on me? What are you doing home? I live here. What are you doing? I found my ring. Oh yeah, and that's such a monumental event. You started swearing. Fuck you talking. David told me where to find my ring. Who the fuck is David? The spirit from last night. Oh, Jesus, I don't need to hear this shit right now. What's wrong? There was an accident on the site today. They closed it down early, and T-Bone got killed. Oh my God, what happened? Sheetrock, baby. Sheetrock. I got him. God, I've never liked you doing that job. It's so dangerous. Bear in mind, she just used Most likely his toothbrush. Fish that out, okay? And then put it back.
God.
So it cuts to later, and we're in the living room, and we're looking at the Ouija board, okay? And for the first time in this film, we get what's called the spirit cam.
Woo!
Okay, where you just hear... and the camera will, like, move around the room. So it's the point of view of, whatever spirit is... whatever spirit we are talking about here.
Yeah.
So it starts flying around the house. And it goes into the bedroom right over a sleeping Tawny. And she's like, sleeping. And then, I don't know, kind of stirs and then senses something behind her. And she turns to the camera and there's nothing there. And then she's like, hang on a second. And she runs to the bathroom and pukes.
Oh.
So what are we talking about, Nurse Candy? We talking about morning sickness. Is that what's happening here?
It sounds like she's pregnant. Yep.
By the Ouija board. Or Jim. So now we cut to the funeral, and it's like, God bless T-Bone. The funeral's like ending, okay? And Jim and Tawny, they're standing there and like shaking everybody's hands as they leave. Like they... financed it or something.
That's weird.
T-Bone has no family. He is a lone wolf, and he was the last of his kind. Oh, yeah, okay, thanks. Everybody leaves, and then you just hear, Mr. Butt Sniffer? Yeah? Hi, my name's Lieutenant, Cream? Lieutenant Cream. Are you police? Yeah, homicide. I didn't know we had that here. I didn't know we had that shit. Yeah, well, I'm it. Yeah, whole department. Anyway, you like magic, Jim? I guess. What's up? I'm investigating T-Bone's death. You ever been to Vegas? No. What are you talking about, man?
Fucking voodoo magic, man.
I've always loved magic. Always been fascinated with it. Yeah, well, no, I've never been to Vegas. Why? I think your friend was murdered. Okay. We're not really talking about magic here, are we, Lieutenant Cream? No, we're not. Those ropes that were holding the sheetrock, they were cut. You were with him when it happened, right? Yeah. Is there any chance someone was aiming for you instead? Or did he have any enemies that you know of? No. And I didn't think it was meant for me until you just said it. Lieutenant Cream lights a cigarette and he's like, whew. Yeah, that's cool. All right. So you lost your hatchet that day, right? I lost my hammer. Yeah, but it has a blade on one side, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah. All right, yeah. Well, did you find it yet? No. Ah, vanished, huh? Yeah, well, nothing up my sleeve. Oh, magic, yes. Touche. All right, I'm sorry for intruding. Go on with your morning. Yeah, just like magic. The only thing I love more than a good magic trick is figuring out how they did it. You let me know if you find that hammer, okay? Yeah, all right. So Lieutenant Cream leaves, and Tawny's like, you didn't tell me you were with him. It was an accident, babe. Can we just drop it? Can we go? Yeah, but Lieutenant Cream's not too sure about it being an accident. And then it just gets up in her face, the camera, and she's like, and neither am I. So she's starting to suspect something. Something? Like what? Cuts to her using the board again, alone.
Oh, jeez.
David, did you cause that accident at the site? David, don't lie to me. No. Are you still angry at Jim? And then the planchette just stops. David, and then ring, the phone rings. And she's like, Jesus Christ! Hello?
Hey, where were you?
What?
You were supposed to bring my Ouija back to class yesterday. You never showed up.
I'm sorry. People are dying. I went to the funeral with Jim.
Oh, yes, of course. How's he taking it?
Pretty hard. He bought a leash that, like, goes around his balls.
That figures.
Hey, that's not fair.
Isn't it? Tell me, did he cry at the funeral?
It's like, damn, dude, what is this guy's problem?
Yeah.
Face it, Tawny. The man has ice in his veins. I've known him forever, and he's never cried once.
And she just, like, looks down at the Ouija. She's drawn to it, like, all the time now. Brandon, how many times have you contacted David?
Quite a few. Why?
Have you ever seen him get that angry? Like at the party?
No. That was weird. Why?
I'm worried. I've been using the Ouija.
Wait, alone?
Yeah? Why?
Tawny, listen to me. Click.
And the line goes dead.
Oh.
And then she turns. And there's Jim naked with the ball leash. Yeah? And he's like, jiggling it. He's like, hello. She's like, oh my God! I told you not to sneak up on me! You fuck!
Like, sorry, I'll get a bell for it or something.
Why don't you just rattle your fucking head next time?
Ooh.
Jesus, what's wrong with you?
He like drops the leash. It's just like trailing behind him when he walks. I don't know. I'm just so scared. I'm going crazy. And he sits down with her. He's like, it's going to be okay, babe. And she's like, no, it's not. I'm pregnant. And he's like, fuck! Are you sure? Yeah. Well, no wonder you're being a bitch. You're not going crazy. You're just becoming a mother. You're not upset? No, of course not, babe. God, I love you. I know. Like, what the hell's going on here? And then she's like, and you love me. Even though you don't know it, I know it. And he looks like he is about to cry. Like, I'm trapped. Later, they're sleeping, and she has a dream where she's like, walking around a foggy house in the dark. And she goes upstairs. She's alone, okay? She opens the bedroom door, and there's like just a coffin in the middle of the room. Okay, and it's all dusty and gross looking. But there's a nice clean Ouija board sitting on top of it. She's like, oh, Ouija. And she walks up to it. She's not scared at all. I love this thing. She puts her hands down on the planchette, and then two hands just like, come up and strangle her. She wakes up.
Ooh.
So what do you do after a nightmare like that, right? And the next morning, you sit down and you do some Ouija. I'm giving the board back to Brandon today. And the planchette's like, no. I've already made up my mind, David. There's nothing you can do about it. No. And she's like, oh, okay. Then this is happening. And she takes her hands off of the planchette and puts the board down. She gets up to go to the kitchen to get some mustard. She walks right by the knife block, okay? And the biggest one just flies out of it and like slams into the middle of the floor.
Oh, God.
Okay? She's like, ah! And then there is a ketchup bottle just sitting on the countertop, and it like, bing, flips over and just dribbles ketchup down off of the counter right onto where the knife is stabbed into the floor. So it looks like the floor is bleeding.
Ooh.
And she's like, OMG! And she runs. She goes to the front door and it will not open. She's like, oh my God. She turns around and then the lights in the apartment just go out.
Like a blind man at an orgy, I was going to have to feel things out.
We just cut to the outside of the house and she just screams. Meanwhile, Jim is back at work. Brandon actually shows up at the construction site. Hey, excuse me, do you know Jim Buttsniffer? Yeah, he's in there. Jim, I want to ask you something about Tawny. Why, you want to know if she snores? He's like, oh, fuck you. Can you be serious? Has Tawny been acting strange lately? What do you mean? She hasn't been to any of her classes all week. You know, let me ask you this. Has she been exhibiting, like, nervous tension, insomnia, erratic behavior? How did you know? She's been swearing a lot? Like a truck driver. I think she's been using my Ouija. And then Jim just looks at me and he goes, no. Who gives a shit, man? I know you think it's a crock of shit, but listen. When someone uses a Ouija alone, like Tawny, they're very susceptible to spirits. At first, those spirits, they're all helpful, and cool. And then they start lifting your shirt up, pulling down your panties. Wait, what? Like in Poltergeist, you remember that scene when the mom's shirt kept flying up and you saw the panties? And it happened 3 times in a row? Oh my God. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. She gets lured in more and more, and pretty soon all she wants to do is use the board. Everything else becomes unimportant. This is called progressive entrapment. By the way, there is a making of Witchboard called Progressive Entrapment.
Oh.
Nice.
When you're editing that, you're going to be like, it's real subtle. She's like, whoa, whoa. And you go, When she reaches this stage, the spirit changes. He starts to frighten and terrorize her. He'll draw dicks on the walls and everything. Spilling ketchup. Okay? He'll wear her down and eventually he can possess her. So what you're saying is, I'm living with, Linda Blair? Damn it, Jim, I'm serious! This guy can yell. He can be all emotional when he's acting. It's good. And then Jim's like, I'm serious. And kisses him! Real rough. And it's long and nose breathy. Yeah. No! I told you I don't like that.
Oh, God.
Okay, Tawny is in trouble. I thought you were cool, man. It's the spirit of somebody evil. Evil when he was alive, and evil now that he's dead. Listen, I want to bring a medium by your house, ASAP, to exorcise the spirit. Are you serious, man? How do you think I knew all that about Tawny, huh? Those are all symptoms of progressive entrapment. They're also all symptoms of pregnancy, motherfucker. I'm gonna be a daddy.
Ooh.
And dude, Brandon, he stops. Okay? All of the spiritual trouble he was concerned about, you can tell is gone. And he's just what? And he just turns to Jim. Oh, terrific. Come on, Brandon. Can't you be happy for us? You're gonna marry her? Of course. Brandon turns to him. And, he's pissed and hurt.
Yeah.
You don't even love her? Motherfucker, you haven't talked to me in 2 years, so don't tell me how I feel. I know you. You don't give a shit about anyone but yourself. That's why you dropped out of med school, because you knew you'd be a shitty doctor. And when you get tired of Tawny, you're going to walk away from her too, just like you walked away from school, just like you walked away from your parents, and just like you walked away... Shut up, Brandon! Right then, some guy's like, hey, Jim? You got a phone call, man. It's your landlady. Something about Tawny. Is she all right? I don't know. Jim and Brandon look at each other like, oh, shit. Jim takes the call, and it's Mrs. Moses, his landlady, right? And, is Tawny all right? Yeah, she's fine for now, but, she was scared awfully bad. Here she is. Jim, it was David. Oh my God, it was David. He used to be so nice, but God damn it, I'm just so scared now. I'll take care of it, babe. I'm on my way. I'll take care of this. I promise, okay? I promise. And she's just like, okay. And then they both just hang up. And I was watching this and I was thinking about when Alan Rundle said no one ever says goodbye on the phone. And man, they don't. So then Jim just looks at Brandon and he's like, all right, bring your medium tonight. And then it just cuts to Zarabeth.
All right.
Yeah.
Best movie medium ever.
Yeah. Kathleen Wilhoit? Is that her name?
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, she's great in this, that's for sure. She's got like this super short pink pixie hair. Okay, and she's wearing like blue-colored sunglasses. This is Night.
I know, they're so cool.
Okay.
Zarabeth holds a special place in my heart.
Oh.
Really.
Brandon's just brought her into their apartment, and she's got like all this makeup on too, like very 80s punk, okay? She's also covered in dangling shit. Jim, this is Zarabeth. She's the Zarabest. Hi, thanks for coming. No prob! She's like, that's how she talks. She's like, all right. So, she walks in, she's like, chewing gum, you know. You got one gnarly spirit here. I can feel it. You're like almost fucked. Where did you find her? The circus?
Look, I understand she's strange, but, she's good.
Right then, Tawny comes out of the bedroom. Like, she's like, still sleepy? She just woke up. She looks around. She's like, what the fuck is happening? Hey, you must be Tawny, bitchin'. And she starts walking around, like feeling the air with her hands. Hey, Chris, you remember when you dated that witch?
She wasn't a witch. She was a new age woman.
She was a witch. She used to burn sage, like walk around burning sage in our apartment, in our house.
Do you think she put like secret sex spells on you?
I wish.
Made you drink potions?
That would have been awesome.
Burn her! So she's walking around. She's like smiling. She's like always in a good mood. That's what I love about Zarabeth.
Yeah.
Jim says, I prepared everything like he said to. Okay, and you look around the apartment, and there is like strings with bells on them, like strung all across the room. And there is a giant wall of Mountain Dew cans in front of the window. And one lone dildo in the middle of the table, sticking up. Zarabeth, she looks around. She's like, top-notch job, Jim. Yeah, all right. All right, let's get this show on the road.
Whose cock is first?
So they turn out the lights, and they all sit at the table. Zarabeth then lights a wick that is sticking out of that dildo. It's a candle, ladies and gentlemen.
Nice.
They make those. Tawny's like, I can't believe you did all this while I was sleeping. And Jim's like, yeah, fucking great. Oh, yeah. It's because of you that I had to do this. Okay, I'm going to make contact now, so whatever happens, stay in your seat, okay? Don't talk. If you talk or you stand, it'll, it fucks it all up, okay? Oh, bummer. I forgot my crystal ball. And Jim's like, what? He looks at Brandon, and Brandon is just like sitting there, and he catches Jim's eye, and he's like, it's a weird scene. Like, just that alone, Brandon's reaction to it is so funny if you're looking for it. Just a little psychic humor. I don't really have a crystal ball. And Tawny's like, she's smiling at her like, oh yeah. Mama like this. Mama like this. Should we hold hands? No, that's only in the vampire movies. Besides, my nails are too grody. And then she just starts picking her nails. And she looks up and sees them all staring at her. She's like, oh, okay. Let's talk to some ghosts. And then she drops her head and lays her hands flat on the table. And everybody's just like watching her. She starts kind of twitching. And then all of a sudden, real slow, she just raises her head and stares forward. And then Brandon just says, who are you? And out of Zarabeth's mouth comes the voice of a child. Mm-hmm. Please don't hate me. Who are you? David. David, do you know me? Yes, Brandon, I know you. How old are you? 10, when I passed away. Tell us, why are you terrorizing Tawny? I love Tawny. She's dating O.J. Simpson. Jim's like, what? Why are you frightening her? She hurt me. she won't talk to me anymore 'cause of him. And then Zarabeth's face, which, she's like staring ahead blankly, it just turns towards Jim.
Oh.
Jim? He's cruel. You are cruel, David. Tawny fears you. I'm sorry. I was angry. And then Zarabeth looks at Tawny and she's like, I love you. And it's like, oh.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to speak to you anymore, David. I'm taking the Ouija home with me tonight. I know. The woman you're speaking through is a psychic. She's got the power to exorcise you from here. No, I'll go. I never meant to harm anyone. Nice candle. Goodbye. And then Tawny starts talking. She's like, David, why? Goodbye. David, wait! And Tawny stands up. Brandon's like, Tawny, don't! And then Zarabeth's head just snaps backward. And it's like, bleh. Oh, Tawny done fucked up. Remember? It wasn't supposed to stand up.
Damn.
And then the Mountain Dew wall just like, all the cans fall to the ground, and like the blinds on the window are moving, like something's moving around the room, okay? Yeah. The strings, the bells, they're ringing and stuff. And then this giant plume of flame just shoots up out of that dick. And then everything fades to quiet, and Zarabeth's head is now just down. And then all of a sudden she just, she sits up and she stretches. Okay, Brandy, catch the lights, huh? And Brandon's like, what? Oh yeah, okay. And he turns on the lights, and it's like, it's done.
Yeah.
Tawny's like, thank you so much, Zarabeth, for coming and doing this. It was really nice meeting you. And Zarabeth's like, too cool. But I didn't do it. David left on his own. Yeah, well, he makes a pretty dramatic exit. Well, maybe I reacted too quick. And Jim's like, wait, what? Well, I mean, he's not evil. He's just like, a little boy. No way. Brandon's taking this shit home right now. And then you realize that at that moment, Brandon is over there like rubbing Tawny's shoulders.
Oh, really?
Just like
trying
to get it where he can. Trying to slink his way in. And he's like, believe me, Tawny, we did the right thing. Oh yeah. That was one nasty ghost. Good thing we didn't get to the exorcism. That would have been a toughie. Oh. But, whoa. I see a vision. What is it? Me in your car going home. Just some more psychic humor. I'm watching this 20 years later. I was like, I cannot wait until she dies. Come on, Brandy, let's go. A TTFN. And then she just walks out. And these were the days when people didn't know what that meant. It's weird. Jim's like, TTFN. And Brandon, who is like, he is our guide through the exposition of everything in this film. He just looks at him like a scholar. And he goes, a ta-ta for now.
Brandon's pretty cool.
Yeah. Brandon is pretty cool. Here's the thing, guys. Like, you start off exactly like Chris said. You don't know who to hate more. You really don't. And there's more coming. Okay? But by the end, you do not feel that way. Thanks for letting me bring her. And then Jim's like, don't mention it. And Brandon's leaving, and Jim goes, to anyone. And Brandon's like, oh. Yeah, okay, whatever. So now Brandon and Zarabeth are rocketing down the road in his Cobra, which is like an old-timey, convertible. Looks like a penis. Go in. Yeah. That was a good thing you did. Yeah, but, have you ever heard of the word malfator before? And that is how they pronounce this name. And it just falls flat for me. Like when I see it in print, I want to call it malfator. I don't know, but they call it malfator. Malfator. It's Portuguese. It means someone evil. Why? Was David Portuguese? No, I don't think so. No. And he's only 10 years old? Yeah. Well, he must have taken some mega vitamins because he was a real toughie.
Is something bothering you? You know, what is it?
I see danger ahead. For Tawny? For you? If you miss my house, it's coming up on the right.
And then Brandon's like, a little more psychic humor, huh?
Like, these are his friends. All kidding aside, listen, something's really hinky.
Like what?
I'm not sure. Stay by the phone, okay? I'll call you later after I do the Nancy Drew bit. TTFN. And she goes into her house. Okay, she passes a big sundial in her front yard. She has her own house. You know, it's not an apartment. And I remember thinking, man, that is a nice house.
Yeah.
And she is such like a punky...
Bitch.
Well, she's not a bitch, but I don't see what she's doing for money. Maybe it's family money. I don't know. Real nice sundial, though. She walks in, down the hallway. There's like tribal masks that had to have been really expensive, you know, all along the hall. And the very last one is Mickey Mouse. So, haha. I just remember zeroing in on that as a kid.
Her house was cool.
It was cool.
I always imagined her like
Being your friend.
exploiting her psychic powers. Like she's finding rich people.
I was thinking
where she's
that.
like talking to their kids and stuff.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, she's got her finger on the dial. She knows what she's doing.
She talks to spirits and she's like, how do I make money? So she's playing some 80s metal, you know, and she's relaxing and sitting down and looking through a book, okay? The Tobin's Spirit Guide. Anyone? And finds an article with a picture, okay, of a mean-looking guy in a suit. It's a black and white photo, okay? And he's an older guy. This motherfucker looks evil in the face, okay? He's got a beard and a very relevant mullet.
I know, he is menacing.
Yeah, he is scary looking. And he's just looking at the camera. She sees this photo and she gets all serious. She's like, oh shit. She gets up and starts making a phone call when spirit cam. It's coming up behind her. She turns and looks into the camera and just yells out, "You!" and then runs. She goes upstairs. It's following her. She runs into her bedroom and slams the door, okay? And then it's like trying the knob, and the whole door is shaking, and there is a bunch of light coming from the other side. It looks scary, man. Like the whole thing's about to like blow inward. And she is terrified. Ah! And then it just stops. And she's like, and she's breathing hard and walks up to the door like she's going to open it. She doesn't even get to touch the door when all of a sudden, Spirit Cam is already behind her. Ah! And she turns around, ah! And then we just see an axe soaring down at her and like some blood sprays, okay? And then she gets thrown out of her bedroom window, falls down into the front yard right onto the sundial, face down. It goes right up through her stomach. Oh. And she's like...
Poor Zarabeth.
I know, right?
She was only trying to help people. She was doing good.
She was.
She's a little kooky.
She's a lot kooky. Brandon the next morning wakes up and he's like, watching the news. Yeah, it's cool. Making some coffee. Probably gonna go rub one out. Saturday. When he hears the victim, Sarah Crawford, claimed to be a psychic and worked as a professional medium under the name Zarabeth. And Brandon's like, what? He goes over to the box, okay, with the Ouija board in it that Jim gave to him. He opens it up, and inside is a chalkboard that has Tawny and Jim's grocery list on it.
Oh.
She pulled the old switcheroo, okay? And he's like, oh, shit. So it just cuts to him like, bzz, bzz, trying to get Jim to come out of his apartment. Jim, it's Brandon. We need to talk. Where's Tawny? Sleeping, man. Zarabeth is dead. What? Someone or something pushed her out of a window. Oh, Jesus. She suspected something about David. She was going to check it out. I think he killed her. The spirit?
I took her out.
Yeah. I think he cut your phone line so I couldn't warn Tawny, and I think he killed T-Bone, but he was trying for you. Man, are you listening to yourself? You're telling me that there is a 10-year-old ghost flying around the town killing people. It might sound crazy, but it ain't no lie. Yeah, well then why did David wait until now? You contacted him way before Tawny did. Yeah, but I was never alone. I always had people with me when I used the Ouija. Okay, but you took it home, so, whatever. No, I checked the box. No Ouija. That's impossible, man. I boxed it up myself. Well, maybe she removed it when you weren't looking. She's obsessed with it, Jim. She's fallen into progressive entrapment. Well, then I just have to find the damn thing and get rid of it. Nah, man. Tawny's so open now, I don't think David even needs it anymore.
Oh.
You told me that's where he gets his power. No, it's just a portal. Most spirits are trapped in their own little worlds, and they can't even enter ours without some portal, like a medium or a Ouija. Or a blonde douchebag who comes to your house, rubs your girlfriend's fucking shoulders, and gives her a Ouija board. How about that?
Oh.
Brandon's like, yeah, my bad. You're telling me Tawny's just a portal for David. Yeah. Eventually he's gonna come inside of her. Unless we stop him. That's why I'm going to Big Bear. Big Bear? What's there in Big Bear? That's where David claims he died. I'm checking it out. For all I know, he's been lying to me the whole time. You're really going? Yeah. And Brandon starts crying. I have to. I feel responsible. That's good because you are.
Totally.
So Brandon's leaving and Jim's like, hey, good luck. And they have kind of a somber moment where they look at each other like,
we should kiss now.
Maybe. And then Jim just goes to the window and he looks out and he sees a car parked outside. And in the car is Lieutenant Cream sitting there watching him and eating a dashboard full of oranges. And it is weird. And Jim looks out and Lieutenant Cream is like, munching on oranges and already staring into his eyes.
Why is his name Cream?
His first name is Peaches. Inside, Tawny has the Ouija. David, are you here? Have you come back? And there's nothing. Okay? So she's like, oh, okay. She lets go of the planchette. And then, bong! It moves itself to yes.
Oh.
She's like, ah! Jim hears that shit and goes to run back into the apartment and the door slams shut right in front of him and he can't get it open.
Oh.
Tawny's yelling, Jim, help me! Help me! He breaks that door down. He gets inside and there are dicks spray painted all over the walls. He's like, oh no, the prophecy. Okay, in the middle of the room is Tawny. All right. And her eyes are all white and she's just standing there spraying red spray paint into her mouth. And he's like, oh my God. She sees him. She's like, I like your big pickle. And her shirt flies up and then her panties fly down. She starts getting slammed back and forth by some unseen force. All right. And then boom, she gets slammed into the wall and knocked out. So Jim, like any guy would, he takes her to bed. No, he's putting her, so she can get some rest.
Yeah.
I don't know what you were thinking, Candy.
Of course.
The landlady's like, Jim, is everything okay? This is Moses. Call an ambulance. Tawny's hurt. So there's an ambulance coming. He sees the Ouija. He picks it up. He's just sitting in the middle of the room. Across the room, there's an open window. And he throws that thing like a frisbee. It goes right out the window and lands in the trash can down at the street. It was like the shot heard round the world. So it cuts to the hospital waiting room, and he's in there waiting right next to Lieutenant Cream. And Peaches, he's reading a book about how to juggle. I don't think I can be a juggler either. He's trying to juggle his oranges. Lieutenant Cream, what do you want from me? Well, how well did you know Sarah Crawford, a.k.a. Zarabeth? Why? Was she into magic tricks? I don't know, but she managed to get her throat slit before falling out of that window. That's a pretty neat trick in anybody's book. What do you think her throat was slit with? I don't know. A hatchet? Yeah, well, whatever it was, her throat matched the ropes that were cut on the construction site. You find your hammer yet, Jim? No. I guess it did just vanish. I saw a magician once. He made an entire elephant disappear. Of course, I know he didn't really make it vanish. He just managed to hide it someplace. And he gives Jim some fuck you eyes, like, I'm on to you, fuckhead. Then the doctor comes in. Jim Butt Sniffer? Yeah. Hi, I'm Dr. Shits. I just wanted to let you know. How's Tawny? Well, your diagnosis was very accurate. It is a mild concussion. Remember, he went to med school.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But doctor, how's the baby? Dr. Shits, she looks around. She looks at Lieutenant Cream, who's just like standing there. Like, well, come on. I want to hear their medical news too. Well, Jim, Tawny missed her appointment with me, so I couldn't tell her. But, Jim, she's not pregnant. Oh, fuck. But she's had morning sickness all week. Nevertheless. Yeah, okay, well, can I see her? He's talking to this doctor, and Cream is just standing behind them. And he's just staring at Jim like, damn, dude. So we cut to Tawny, who is unconscious in bed. And Jim's sitting there over her, and he's crying. And he looks off like he just had an idea. And it just cuts to Brandon, and he has packed his go bag, and he's going downstairs of his amazingly nice house. Okay. Remember, it's the Sinclair Vineyard. He's got family money. And he goes to leave for his road trip to Big Bear. He opens up his front door, and Jim is already standing there. I'm going with you.
All right.
Yeah, you know what that means. Road trip!
Doctor, give me the news.
All right.
Bad case of loving you.
That is the perfect road trip song. So what's the plan when we get there? Remember, they're in a convertible.
Big Bear Public Library.
Why? And Brandon puts his hand on Jim's knee.
And he's like, why not?
So then it just cuts to a microfiche party.
All right.
Jim actually finds an article. You know, he's like,
What is this? What is microfiche?
and then he's the one who finds it. A boat accident killed 10-year-old David
Peterson?
son of Molly and George.
George Peterson?
Brandon's like, whoa. Well, now we know David's telling the truth.
George Peterson?
But why is he terrorizing Tawny? Terrorizing Tawny. That's Candy's band name. Jim's like, well, how do we find that out? Brandon smiles and he taps on the microfiche and he's like, we ask his parents. And then it just cuts to a phone booth and he's like, looking through the phone book. And he just slams it down. He's like, God damn it. So Brandon can't find a listing for Molly and George Peterson. And then, check out the big brain on Jim. He's like, well, why don't we go to the cemetery where David was buried and, the cemetery man will have receipts or something, so we can contact him. They finally get to the cemetery and it's closed. It's night and it is foggy. Brandon's just sitting in the car waiting for Jim. Jim comes back. Hey, man, it's locked up.
Well, I guess we're going to need to come back tomorrow.
Fuck that. Hey, as long as we're here, I'm checking out David's grave. What? Jim, why? Why not?
Doctor,
Hey.
Oh, God.
bad case of loving you.
Jim jumps over the wall And Brandon's like, Jim, don't! Brandon gets out of the car to follow him, and he's like, I've got a very bad feeling about this. And I'm like, man, we get it. Star Wars. So Brandon jumps over the wall and follows Jim. Jim's like nowhere to be found already. So Brandon's just like walking around. It's all dark and foggy. He's got his flashlight. Jim, where are you? It's like super foggy and spooky, okay? And the camera's panning through this cemetery, and no shit, there is a headstone that is a dick. I am not making that up. Go watch the movie. Jim. It's so foggy, though, and his flashlight is useless because it's a flashlight. Those don't make light. So he's searching, and when behind him he hears, ch, and he's like, and he freezes. He's scared, and then he turns, and there's nothing there. And then Jim's like, hey, man, what's up? From behind him. Scares the shit out of him. I found someone I want you to meet. Who? David's parents. And now they're looking down at a couple of headstones. Look at the dates. They died on the same day, less than 2 weeks ago.
Whoa.
Maybe it was some sort of accident. Yeah, what if it wasn't? And then it cuts to the place they're staying at in Big Bear, and it's called the Wishing Well Motel. But what's weird is the sign says, Wishing Well Motel, phones. And it's pretty big. Like, that's the big selling point. Jim, we've got to get some sleep. I want to get out to the dock early in the morning. I don't suppose you have an extra toothbrush in that bag, do you? No. I hate talking to ghosts with plaque on my teeth. And then they laugh. A little psychic humor, huh? Yeah. Why are we laughing? To forget how scared we are. What happened to us, Brandon? We used to be like brothers. I don't know. Things change. People change. I didn't steal her from you. You know that. I know. It's just that every time I see the two of you together, I go crazy. It's not that I'm a jealous man. I just don't like people touching my things. I start saying stupid things, and I tell myself, Brandon, stop being such an asshole. But then my mouth opens up and out comes another stupid fart. You're still in love with her. And it's like, boom.
Yeah.
And then Jim's like, I envy you that. Like, damn, dude.
Yeah.
What?
Like, he don't love her. Remember what you said about me quitting med school? Brandon tears up. Jim, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. No, you were right. You know the thing that I'm afraid of most? That I'll never be able to love anyone, and I'll end up alone for the rest of my life. Brandon's just like somber, looking at him. If I had any guts, I'd get out of her life before she wastes any more of her time on me. And Brandon just like sits down and like kind of levels with him, like looks right at him. So, tell me, what does she see in you that she didn't see in me? I make her laugh. Well, so did I. Yeah, but only in the bedroom. And it's like, oh! And Brandon is like, hurt. And he's just like looking at Jim. You fucking asshole. And Jim's like, listen, motherfucker.
My cock is 7 feet long, and it stinks.
We cut to Tawny at night, waking up in the hospital, and she can hear a child's voice. Tawny, Tawny, like way far away in the hospital somewhere. So she gets up. All the lights are out in the hospital, okay? That's weird. She's wearing her hospital gown, but she's also wearing like a flowy silk robe. And she starts following the voice. Following a child calling your name in a dark hospital. Like, who would do that? So she goes down the hall, and there's all this spooky music playing, right? Get ready for a jump scare or something. And then finally, bam! It happens. She sees her reflection in a door, and she's like, oh my God. Holy shit. Oh, God. And then she turns around and bong! There's the mean man with the axe. And he swings it and cuts her head off.
Oh.
Her head just flies away. And her hands like, they start reaching up to grab where her head was. It's like, where's my head? And there's no blood whatsoever in this shot, but it doesn't matter. It's like still cool. It's like well done. And I read that it was actually pretty dangerous because they had a person like in that, fake body.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And the guy swung an axe, right near him. So she screams and wakes up. Yeah, it was a nightmare. Now this scene where he cuts her head off. And as he's doing it, he's like smiling maniacally.
Yeah.
And his eyes and his face. Oh man, this guy he got to me as a kid.
Yeah.
It was scary as hell to me. And when I was watching it this time, I kept running it back to watch it over and over. And it like still unnerves me.
Really?
Just because of my own past with it, I think. But damn, yo. And then we cut to daytime. And Brandon and Jim have gone in Big Bear to Wanda's Witchcraft Warehouse for all of your necromancy needs. Located at the Big Bear Mall, right next to the Cinnabon. Brandon walks out. Yeah, I got it. He bought a new Ouija board. This one's blue. It's actually pretty cool looking.
Yeah.
Jim's like, man, I got a real bad feeling about this. That's like the 5th time. So now it cuts to a dock. Okay, remember, David was killed in a boating accident. So they've gone to where he died. Mm-hmm. Brandon puts the Ouija board down on a crate right next to a bunch of barrels that are all tied together. Like dock stuff.
Yeah.
Jim's like, what are you doing, man? I thought it was supposed to be on our knees. Ah, no, not this time. Since this is where David died, contact with the spirit should be very strong. Not too strong, I hope. Don't worry. If I'm right about Tawny being his portal, she's too far away for him to reach us. Well, what if you're wrong and the Ouija's his portal? Then we're opened up wider than Andy Dufresne on movie night. I wish I was there. I'm not wrong. Tawny's his portal. We're too far away. Besides, he can't do anything while she's sleeping. She's under sedation, right? Like they do for all mild concussions?
Oh, yeah.
Days of sedation. At that moment, it just cuts to Tawny checking out of the hospital because she's totally fine. And Dr. Shitz is like, wait, Tawny, why don't you stay and let's run some more tests? I'm putting in a pool at home. No, I'm good. And she just leaves. So back to Brandon and Jim. Good old B&J. BJ. Blow J. Blow J Simpson. Blow J Simpson. O.J. Simpson is in prison? He's listening to this show. He's like, go find them. Tell them they're funny and kill them.
Actually, I think he got out.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
Yeah. Hey, OJ.
Yeah, what's up?
Are you on Twitter?
Sorry about the Blow J thing. So now Brandon gets Jim to do the Ouija board with him. Remember what I said about not knowing who to hate more?
Yeah.
At this point, you're like, the demon fighting duo.
Yeah, it's great.
Together again, baby. Learning to find love together. So they do the Ouija board, and Brandon's like, David, why are you terrorizing Tawny? And it starts moving around in the figure 8, the balls. And it stops. It starts spelling stuff out. N-O-T. Not? David, do you mean you're not terrorizing Tawny? Yes. Well, then who is? E-V-I-L. Evil? What the hell does that mean? I don't know. Wait a minute. David, you were at Jim's party, right? Yes. And you flattened my tire? Yes. Okay. Now, David, this is very important. Please tell us the truth. Did you kill T-Bone at the construction site? F-U-C-K. No. And you didn't kill Zarabeth? No. But you did speak to us through her? No.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's like, dun dun. No, then who the hell did we talk to? E-V-I-L, motherfucker. Again with the evil. Wait, I think I get it. David, is this evil another spirit? Yes. Is this spirit powerful? Did it force you out of Jim's house? Yes. Have you ever seen it naked? Yes. Does it have a bigger penis than me? Yes. I knew it. Is this spirit's name Malfader? Yes. And Tawny never actually contacted you the whole time she was using my Ouija? No. And it's like, oh man, this is some shit. And Jim's like, shit. All right, David, what do we do now? And then the planchette just starts furiously moving across the board, spelling things out, back and forth and back and forth. It's almost too fast to keep up with. But it finally spells out,
be sure to drink your Ovaltine. Ovaltine?
Then who the fuck is Malfader? David, who is Malfader? And then it spells out H-E-R. Her? Who is her? David, do you mean Tawny? No. Well, then who is her? And it's moving in the figure 8, and it's going faster. Like over and over, over and over. It's like it's agitated. David, what's the matter? And it just keeps moving in this figure 8. It will not stop. And Jim's like, wait, didn't you say they're lousy spellers? Yeah. David, did you misspell the word? Yes. Okay. Just try again. One more time, slowly. Who is Malfader? And it starts again, and it goes H-E-R, and it just stops. What happened? I lost him. Well, get him back. I don't know if I can. Sometimes it happens sometimes. Well, what's he trying to spell? H-E-R-E. Here. And then they both look at each other like, shit. Malfader is here. It can't be. That would mean, and then the ropes on the barrels snap and all of those barrels just come tumbling down on top of them.
Oh.
Damn.
Jim gets knocked out and he's still in the dock, but Brandon sadly goes into the water. Okay. A while later, he finally comes up and he's coughing and he struggles out of the water and onto the dock. He looks over and Jim is knocked out. He's like, Jim. And he gets up and he staggers over to him when spirit cam. And it just rushes right up to Brandon's face. And then we see a hammer hatchet swing right down and land right in Brandon's forehead.
Oh my God.
Oof. Blood splashes all over the dock and Brandon falls into the water.
Oh,
and then we see the blue Ouija board just like kind of floating in the water. A while later, and they show it, like they show Jim like laying on the dock from different points of view. Jim finally wakes up and he's bleeding on his forehead. He staggers around and the spirit cam is still there, okay? But it's not going anywhere. It's just sitting there watching him. Brandon? Jim gets down and like washes the blood off of his face. And then he senses something behind him and he turns and there's nothing there. And he's looking around. And then whoosh, a hand comes up out of the water and grabs onto his shirt. And he's like, oh, Jesus, oh, God. And then he's like struggling with it. And then he sees, oh, holy shit, it's Brandon. And he hauls him out of the water and holds him up. And we see that Brandon's whole face has got a big axe slash in it.
Oh.
And he's already dead. Like he spent his last strength just grabbing Jim. And I'll tell you what, this scene gets to me, man. This is a sad scene.
Yes.
And Jim's like, oh God, no. And he holds him and he hugs him, dude. And he just holds on to his friend. Oh. And it is horrible.
Yeah.
And he starts crying and he's holding him. And the spirit cam is just like, just standing there, just watching him.
Creepy.
And then it just flies up and away. So we cut to Tawny back at the apartment building, and she goes and pulls the Ouija out of the garbage can, takes it inside. Spirit cam's there too, watching her from inside the window. She starts using the Ouija. David, where are you? David, what have you done with Jim? Answer me, goddammit! And still nothing. So then she just tosses it aside. She's like, you bastard. She walks into her bedroom and throws off her silk robe, throws it onto the bed. Then we cut back to Wanda's witchcraft warehouse. And Jim is there now. He's driven the Cobra. He just kind of, I don't know if Brandon's in the trunk or still at the lake, but Jim is in there getting help from Wanda. And they're looking through this book, and she points to this picture, this black and white photo of this scary dude with the mullet. And I'm telling you, man, that photo is haunting to look at, okay? And she's like, his name was Carlos Malfader, and he was a famous mass murderer in his day. He killed 9 people, chopped them all up with an axe. Whatever happened to him? Is he still alive? And it's like, Jim, what the fuck? Why would you ask that? God, please bring Brandon back.
Yeah.
Because Jim, I have no words. Why would he ask if he's still alive, you know? No, the police finally caught up to him in 1930, shot him down in his own home. She turns a page, she's like, there it is. It's Zach Galligan's house.
Oh, man.
Oh, jeez.
And he's like, oh, shit. He goes and he calls the hospital. He's like, yeah, can I talk to Tawny? She's in room 345. Wait, what? When? Oh, Jesus. And he rushes off. Just as Tawny's getting done in the shower. And, you know, she's like patting her hair dry. She raises her arm and we see she got a little stubble in them pits. And that's no shit.
Really?
She goes to open the shower door and it won't open. She's like, what the hell? And then scalding water comes out of the shower. She's getting burned. And she's like, oh, God, no. Ah. She has to back up, you know, like, oh, like you're naked in the shower and the water's too hot. What do? You try to outrun it, you know, to the back of the shower. She has to try to turn it off. She can't, man. And she has no choice. She wraps her hand in a towel and just punches through that glass and jumps out. So out of the shower, she uses that towel to cover her nakedness. And then she runs for the bedroom door. And a decidedly well-timed door slam happens, like right in front of her. It's like, oh, man, good job. And she's like, ah! She's trying to open it. It won't open. She just, oh, Jesus. She's banging on it, and she just gives up. And she turns around and just slides down to the floor. Right then, we see Jim speeding down the highway, trying to go home. Tawny's walking around in her bedroom. She's locked in there, okay? She's like, I'm freezing. She goes to grab her robe. Underneath it is the Ouija. Bong! And all of a sudden, spirit cam in the bedroom. She turns around, and then slowly, Carlos Malfader materializes in front of her. And she's like, oh my God! And he's just smiling at her. And then it just cuts to the outside of the house. And you hear her screaming, and then you hear him scream. And he's like, and then it just cuts to the same shot, but daylight. And Jim busts in. All right, I drove all night, but I'm here. What the hell? And the whole apartment is just trashed. Okay, even the paint on the walls, the wallpaper, I don't know what it was, but it's like, it's all scarred up. And he's like, oh, Jesus, look at this place. The whole thing, like everything is broken. He looks around, he sees the Ouija sitting there on like the overturned couch. And then an axe swings down at him. And he actually dodges it, and it is Tawny.
Ooh.
And she is wearing Malfader's suit. She's got a fire axe. And it's not a hammer hatchet. And that confuses me. Tawny, I'm trying to help you. And then there's Tawny. She's got this axe and she's like standing in front of him and she just goes, fine. Then stop moving. And it's like, oh shit. And he runs to the door and she just slams the axe into it. She's trying to hit him, but you know, she's not the greatest shot. She ends up tackling him, like kicks him in the stomach, and then she gets on top of him and starts choking him. And it's like, what the hell, Jim? He's just getting choked by his girlfriend in the suit. And he's like, "Ugh, ugh, ugh, ugh." And then, you know what? Screw this. He just punches her in the face. But she likes it. She's like, hey. She just keeps choking him. He's like grasping around in the debris around him, and he finds a letter opener, and he holds it up like to her gut, her side, to threaten her. And she just says,
Go ahead, James. What are you waiting for?
And he's like, Tawny, I love you. And she stops.
Oh.
And Tawny comes back. She's like, Jim? Oh, God, Tawny.
It's not that easy, James.
So she just keeps choking his weak ass, and then he finally just stabs her. Ah! She falls off. He gets up, and he goes to kick her, like, kick this girl in the stomach. Oh. When right then you hear, Don't move, asshole! It's Lieutenant Cream.
Fuck yeah.
He's in the front door, and there's, like, all of the other tenants behind him. It's like, all you people, get back to your apartments now. And he's got the gun on Jim, and he's like, I understand you left quite a mess up there in Big Bear, Mr. Butt Sniffer. Cream, it's not what you think. Listen to me. Don't. And he walks in. He keeps the gun on him, and he walks over to Tawny, and he's like, Miss Brewster, can you stand? And he goes to help her up. Did he hurt you? And she's like,
Yes.
That's it, Butt Sniffer. Put your hands behind your back. And he arrests him. And then we just fade into news headlines. James Butt Sniffer has been arrested and charged with the quadruple homicide. The deaths of Sarah Beth, T-Bone, Brandon, and the attempted murder of his girlfriend, Tawny. And there's like camera crews in Tawny's face and like, how do you feel escaping the clutches of the murderer?
I feel good. I'm just so lucky. I couldn't believe that it was all happening right under my nose. I was with the killer the entire time. I'm just looking forward to putting all of this behind me and getting on with my life.
And then it just cuts to Jim sitting on death row. And he has made his own Ouija board on like a piece of paper. Okay? And like a crude planchette, that he made out of his milk carton. And he's trying, it just shows him just trying to contact Brandon. Brandon, are you there? Are you there? And then it just fades into Tawny sitting there smiling, drinking a cup of Ovaltine. And the credits roll, baby.
Fuck yeah. All right.
Good job, Ron.
Hey, thanks. I promise that was better than the actual ending. So there you go. Witchboard on Movies with Ron.
All right, folks. If you're using Apple Podcasts or iTunes, leave us a rating and review. We'd really appreciate it. We're on all your other favorite podcast apps and movieswithron.com. We got a Facebook page, Twitter, @movieswithron. Check us out. It's been fun.
See you guys.
TTFN.
Movies with Ron.
Okay, so what happened?
All right. The real ending is when Lieutenant Cream is trying to help Tawny up, she gets up and then hits him in the face with a fire poker. And he drops his gun on the floor and then flies back and then down to the ground, like dead or unconscious. You don't even know. But Jim picks up the gun and aims it at Tawny. So it's gun versus poker.
You won't kill her, James.
I could shoot her in the leg. And I was like, yeah.
That wouldn't change anything.
Buy us some time. Time to fight you. Time for Tawny to close the portal.
Only you can do that, James.
Put it down. Put down the poker.
You're so smart. You piece of shit. You haven't figured it out yet, have you? You're the portal, James, not Tawny. You're the one that I opened. You're the one that I terrorized by torturing Tawny and by killing your friends. Tawny's mine as long as you live.
Oh.
Bullshit, you tried to kill me.
No, I was just trying to scare you a little bit. You want to save Tawny? Huh? You got the means, baby. Go ahead, close the portal. You can do it, but you won't. You can't. You don't love her that much. Not that much.
And he puts the gun to his own head. And he's like, Tawny.
Is she worth it? Is anyone?
And then all of a sudden, Tawny comes through and she's like, Jim, don't. And then boom, he shoots the Ouija board and it flies up into the air and starts spinning. And then he keeps shooting it and he fills it full of holes like a cowboy shooting a tin can on the ground. And then Tawny, or Malfader, Tawnfader, she actually comes for him, to strangle him. But then she falls, at his feet, she falls short and accidentally knocks him out of the window. And the camera goes with him. Oh. And it's it takes 20 seconds for him to hit the ground. They're only in a 3-story house. And he's holding his arms up, mimicking falling from a great height. And he's oh. And just before he hits a car in what looks like a supermarket parking lot. And remember, they're on a residential street. Yeah. It cuts to a church full of people crying. And it's all somber and everybody's so sad. And then we travel up the aisle up to the front of the church. Oh, it's a wedding.
I now pronounce you man and wife. You may kiss the bride.
And Tawny, Jim pulls up her veil to kiss her, and Jim is wearing this ridiculous neck brace. And he kisses her, and it's ow! Why couldn't we wait a little while? And then it cuts to Mrs. Moses and some random girl cleaning up the fucking destroyed apartment. And the girl's hey, look what I found. Oh, well, look at that. It's a Ouija board. I wonder if it still works. Whatever, everything is garbage. And she just throws it into a box. And the girl's full of all those holes? I don't know. And then she throws the planchette in too. And then the camera closes in on the planchette. And it just moves to yes. Oh. And then the credits roll.
Nice.
No.
I thought they would have to burn it or something. You know what would be cool?
Huh?
Is if one of them was using the old board, and the other one was using the new blue board, and you have dueling Ouija boards. And it's David against Malfader, Masturbator, whoever he is. And the spirits duke it out. Yeah. I got ideas.
Oh, yeah.